Hello, good morning everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, Darsh.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just give me a minute. All right. Okay, so yeah, good morning everyone. Welcome to this session. And so actually this session is generally an open session where you can, come in and ask your doubts. But as we have planned earlier, as I've given the, idea of taking a solve with instructor kind of session in this Saturday. So I'll be doing that. Okay. So basic idea of this session is to, get your ideas clear with how to load APIs in the application. So till now we are done with creating some application using controllers. Okay, so the business logic of the application was generally a part of controllers, and we have also created APIs which would return some information based on how we want it to come in. So these are two different things. Now in this session we will try to club these two, ask the controller to get some help from API and get APIs to do its work. Okay, so this is the idea of this session. So we will be creating a very simple application, and we'll try to clear your doubts regarding APIs and how to load them with the help of that this small application. Okay. Yeah, Rajesh, before I start, yes, Rajesh has 3 questions on project. You can ask.
Yeah, thank you, sir. My first question is that somehow.
Yeah, you are audible, Rajesh.
Okay. So my first question is that individual users will use the tracker. Now the same tracker can be used by multiple users, or the tracker is exclusive to the individual users.
Okay, so that tracker will be exclusive. Why is this? Because we are creating a profile for a particular user wherein he can log in and create his own trackers. Okay, so we don't know what kind of things a user is logging in, okay, in a particular tracker. So we don't know that how much useful it is for other users. And if you have paid attention or to the point which sir said, the user and the tracker type will be unique together.
Okay. So that means the tracker name could be same, but their IDs will be different.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So my second question is that how much weightage is there on aesthetics? For example, if I create a project which is 100% functional, but there is no aesthetics, so in that case, can I expect 100% marks?
Yeah, surely you can expect. See, some aesthetics is expected only to so we are having a clear, you being the creator of application have a clear vision of where your components are placed, right? But you want your application to use by others, okay, so that it should it should give a good user experience, right? So that is the only idea. So but that will not lead to cutting of any marks if you have not given it. So there is no issue with not giving aesthetics. At the end, when you are completely done with employing all the functionalities that are required, you can add one or two just to give some highlights as in what is what. Okay. But for any reason, by any chance, if you have a last minute submission and still could not add any CSS, that will not matter.
Okay. So my third question is that my project is somehow I'm working with that, and with a user without having any login, my project is working right now. And now I want some idea from you. If I want that authentication with user and password, so if you can give some idea, that will be great.
Okay, so what exactly your app does now? How does it differentiates different users?
The home page has a text box when the user has to give the username.
Okay.
And then have to log in. If the user doesn't exist, then it will go to error page, or it will come back to the same login page.
Okay.
Or if the user exists, then it will go to the home page, which is customized for that particular user.
Okay.
But I still don't have any password component there, so that I want to add. So I need some help or a hint how we can achieve that.
Okay. So see, first thing is you can try checking your password for after confirming that the user exists or the username exists. Okay. So setting a unique constraint on the username by itself will lead to creation of unique users every time. Okay, so now when you are confirmed, when the application confirms that the user exists, then it should check then it should check the password field of that particular user with the password that you provide.
Now I understand. Uh, where should I keep the password? Should I keep the password in plain text in some database, or should I use some MD5 and then
See, you can do both.
something like
It
that?
would be recommendable to use some hashing. Okay, because at the end of the day, you're storing your passwords in the database. Okay, but it won't be an issue since we are not very much concerned about the validation and authentication part.
Okay.
Okay, but the thing is if we do not have this password component, we can infiltrate your application by using the other URLs, right?
Right.
So that thing we are trying to avoid. Since we have this security component as a individual weak, why not employ it? Okay, so what you need to do is you try to at least, if not hashing, by the way, it's not a very big deal if you're anyway adding a password component. But if by any reason you don't want to waste your time in hashing, you can directly save the password in the database.
Actually, with a plain text, I can always do that. Right. That's not a very big deal. So I can always do that. That's not a problem. But
Okay.
I'm trying to understand how this happens in industry. What's the professional way to do that? So if you can, you don't have to tell me right now, but if you can add some more information or some video you can upload sometime later, that is okay.
Okay, fine. So see, most of the so basically what they generally do, most of this companies also, when they have their own profile and all, they hash their passwords and save it in the database itself. But the technique to decrypt those passwords is kept a very big secret. Okay, that is something that is not stored somewhere. So the password that is encrypted and stored in the database, only while retrieving it is, while decrypting it is retrieved, and how it is decrypted is defined by their own standards.
Actually, I'm not bothered with that part also. So what I can do, when I set the password, I can apply say MD5 hash, and then hashed thing can be stored in the database. And whenever the user will try to log in, every time it will have that MD5 hash will be implemented, and that will be compared whatever stored in the database. That I can do. But still, I have to keep that all the session separated. So those kind of things will come into picture. Right?
Yeah. Somewhere you'll have to. So yeah. So if you want other
that
users
part,
to.
I'm not very clear. If you can add some more some video like that Tej sir has done for other things, if you can do something like that, that will be very good.
Okay, so see, just to get an idea of how things happen, you can watch tutorials on Flask login. Okay, so so even if you go to the documentation, so you don't have to go into much details like what are the classes that it is using, user and login manager and stuff like that. Okay, but a simple application, as in how it doesn't allow for the any other user to go into certain URLs if it is not allowed to do so, right? So you can go through the documentation of Flask login and then use that idea for the sessions as.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll try to give some resources. I'll try to give some resources on that.
Thank you so much. That's all.
Okay, fine. Okay, so shall I move ahead with the session?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so just to give you an idea of what I'm trying through an application that I've already created, and I'll be replicating on what I've done. Okay, so here, just let me share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so this is the command prompt. Okay, so I've created a file that is a simple app.py, right? I'll try to run it. Okay, so this is running now. I'll try to write on the URL. So there is one, so there is the endpoint defined as home. Okay, so if you go to this home, you'll see that there is you'll see that there is a statement called find or create a new user. Okay, so this is like saving data, saving some information about the user in the database. Okay, so I'll try to go to a pre-defined or pre-saved user, that is, okay, so I've done it with my name. Okay, and if I click on find name, what it does is it retrieves information about that user from the database. Okay, is this visible?
No, sir. Can you increase the font a little bit more?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
is it
Okay, sir. That's fine.
okay? Yeah, so what happened now, I just typed the username and it retrieved all the information based on the username from the database, and has given it on in the form of a simple text or a simple HTML file. Okay, what you can also do is you can find another. Okay, so you'll go with other user. For example, I've also saved Sonal's name. Okay, so if you do that, so this will retrieve the information from the Sonal for that is saved with respect to Sonal. Okay, for also what we can do is we can create new user. Okay, so if I create, so if I go on create new user, it will prompt me in another form. Okay, so another form will come up which will take all those information which is to be shown, right? So if I just add on a different user, for example, any other name. Okay, we have also have Devi ma'am, so we'll say Devi ma'am's name. Okay, okay, so let's say she teaches math 2. Okay, and in the same institute, let's say IIT Madras. Okay, and then for math 2 we say that it is a build up course on math 1. Okay, so if I add this user, yeah, it will get back to the front page that we saw. Okay, and then I'll try to retrieve the retrieve ma'am's information. Okay, so now
Excuse
it
sir.
shows. Yes.
So when you filled when you filled all the HTML forms and then you click submit, and then we redirected to the second page, view or
front.
create.
Yes.
In my quantified self app, I am doing somewhat similar to that.
Okay.
And when I click when I refresh my browser, then every time I refresh my browser, the same data gets added to the database every time, and a pop-up generates that says that form will be saved again. Why is it happening?
Yeah, so this one, right? Confirm form resubmission.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. And when I click confirm, then similar same data gets duplicated in database as well, several times.
Okay. Yeah, so see, whenever we fill a form and try to refresh, this will happen. Okay, because the form data is saved in the browser. Okay, so if you see at the payload tab, okay, just let me cancel this. I'm not sure if it will be this available for this page, but okay, let's see. Network memory, no, sorry, network itself. Okay, so it will not be there for this page. Hmm. Yeah, so currently I'm not showing the form page, right? So it is so what happens is whatever information you print, whatever information you add gets saved in the form data, and the payload tab appears here, right, in place of preview. Okay, so that data is still stored once when you are resubmitting. Okay, and that's why when you confirm it, the same information, since it is already filled fields, the information will be saved. Okay, one way to avoid that is you put a unique constraint in your database. Okay, so in the class you put a unique constraint. What that will do is it will not allow the exact same data to add. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so yeah, so that you can try once. So that will not allow data to get added. It will show some error which can be taken care of later. Okay, so you can use try and except block, things like that, so to check if there is any error, and then if there is error you can catch it as an exception and do when it comes as an exception, do something. What it should do, it should redirect to the page which shows okay, user already exists, so it will not allow duplicate data to fill in. Okay, so this you can do. Okay, so yeah, so for now should I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so for now we have seen that okay, this is quite a very simple app. Once it is retrieving data from the database, second it is adding data into the database. What is the difference is we are using APIs to do this. Okay, so this thing is not happening by the controller. Okay, these things are happening where the controller are employing APIs to do the same. Okay, so that is something we'll try to do. Okay, so I'll close this app. I'll stop the server. Okay, so I'll go back to okay home page. I'll close this, and what I'll do is I'll go to the uh, I'll create a new folder here. So see, these are the files that I've already created. So what we are also doing here, we are creating 3 different files. Okay, one for the APIs, one for storing the database, and one for the actual application. And then things like template and static are something that we need. So you may have also observed that I've added a different font. So that is done with the help of adding some stylings, which will be there in the static folder. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll create a new folder. Week 10/1, let's say. Okay, and we will also open a command prompt in that same folder to run and see our application. Okay, so this is for now we don't need it. And so yeah, so this is the database, right? So this is the information it is storing. So if I refresh this, you can see that the information for DBMM has been stored. Okay, so this is the information. This is our database, which is storing all these values and retrieving. Now this storing, adding stuff into database is happening by the API. Also, the retrieval of data is also happening using an API. Okay, so for now, I will close this database and also minimize this. Okay, and I also have Postman open to check whether our APIs are working fine or not. Okay. And okay, so and what I'm going to do now is I'll be open Sublime Text, because I'll be doing things on Sublime Text. Okay, so this is the same folder, and something similar you will see. Okay, so we'll try to open new folder. Okay, so currently our folder has nothing. So we will create different basic files. Okay, so for now this folder should have two folders, like two subfolders, that is templates, which will store all the views. Okay, and one is static. The static folder is optional. Okay, we will not go into adding styles and all. Just for your information, the way that we need to follow is something. Just create the folders and keep them ready whenever you require them. So we've got the folders ready. Now we'll create files. Okay, so one file is the app itself, right? Okay, then we'll create one more file that will involve things related to database. For example, creating models and stuff. So okay, we'll keep it database, not databases. Okay, doesn't matter, but it might lead into some typos later. Okay, so we've got database file ready, and then we'll have one more file, resources.py. Okay, so this resources.py will contain all the APIs. Okay, so we'll start off with simple app.py to create a Flask app. Okay. Okay, so we need Flask, we need render template. Okay, what else do we need? A redirect, because we are coming back to same page. Yes.
So can you increase the font?
Yeah, sure.
It is too small.
Is it visible now? Still small?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Now it's fine.
Yeah, and thanks for telling me to increase. I've written a wrong spelling for template. Okay, so in Flask we need to import these things. We'll see if other things are required. Okay, so with this, okay, we'll start creating an application. So app equals to Flask name. Okay, and then we'll create routes. Sub.route. Our first one was home, right? So we'll create the same. This home. Okay, and then we need methods. Just stop me wherever you stop following. Okay. These things are repeated things. We have done it a lot in Flask. That's why I am going a bit fast. Okay. These are just view functions. Okay, so
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, what are we trying to achieve? Like, what is our purpose?
Our purpose is to see how APIs can be used to do the same, right? What controllers are doing. Okay, so what we'll try to do is we'll try to load APIs in our application.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so so what is happening here? We have created APIs, not here. So throughout the course, what has happened? We have created controllers, okay, and we have created various APIs. We have documented APIs, and using Postman and all, we have tested them. We have created controllers, and we have gone through various routes and performed various CRUD operations. But we want to club this too, right? We want our application to be able to use the APIs that we have created. For that, we need to load APIs into our application. Okay, so so based on some of the queries on discourse, we have decided to have this session so that you can ask your hands-on doubt. Okay, so I'll move ahead. Okay, so I'll create one route that is info, and let's say, or So at home, what did we have at our at the home page? We saw that there is one form which is asking for if you want to find a user or create one. Okay, so it should have both the methods get and post. Okay, so we'll just create this function home. Okay, and then we'll write this. Yeah, so yeah, request we have already imported. So request dot method equals to post. So some things will happen when we use a request dot method equals to post. For now, we do not know, so we'll pass it. Okay, otherwise it should it return a template. Okay, so I have I had named that as front, so I'll name this also as front page. Okay, so front.html. So this is our first route. Okay, so what happens when we post is it will retrieve data, right? So it will use get method, and so that get method will be done by the API, right? So API will be retrieving our data. Okay, so this is one thing that we need to do. Secondly, what we need to do is create another route. What this will do is create a different user. Okay, so we'll be using the same entirely. Sorry. What we need to change is this. Yes, we are creating this, and then again same thing, but here we will not be rendering the front template. We'll be rendering a form, right? So this will be a new user, so simply name it as create. Okay, so this is where we'll have all the fields that will be there for the user. And okay, so this is it for now about the controllers. And then again, obviously we need to run this application, so we'll use if name equals main. App.run. Okay, all right, so should I create the views or the templates that are there by from scratch, or should I take it from the demo that I've given? And I'll definitely explain those templates, no doubt. If I take it from there, it will save us some time.
I think we should take it.
Okay. Yeah, so because see, why we are doing that, because we only want to know about the loading part. Rest and all are similar. Even the application that I have shown or given the demo of looks exactly the normal type that we have seen till now. Okay, so I'll take it from there. Okay, what we need to do is open folder, okay, which was this. Yeah, so these are the templates. So this is create.html. Okay, where are we? This one. So here templates will create new file, which was create.html. Okay, so I'll just zoom out a little bit just to show what is there. Okay, so one is the font family. Okay, so we'll leave it as is. Okay, this is the style sheet that I've used. These are the meta tags. Let's leave it. what are there? The form has probably 5 types of input, if I'm not wrong. So that is username, email, course, institute, and about. Okay, only one thing to look at here is the about part is a text area. Okay, it is not, therefore it is different from the input. Okay, so text area is a different type of input that will take, you know, text into rows and columns. So if you see here, it has attributes like rows and columns, which shows how many rows we have to take and how many columns. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. This simple form. Okay, another form I'll take is, we'll save this. Okay, so another file that I'll be creating is front.html. Front.html, and it will be the data that will take from here. Okay, not this. Front.html. So front.html, before copying, I'll explain. Same thing. The styling part is same for all the pages. Okay, did not add a different thing because that was literally not required. Okay, what was there is one input field and one submit. That's it. The submit has a value of find user, which,
Sir,
yeah,
can you explain that fonts.google APIs that you have used?
this one.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so this is how I have linked a font using Google Fonts. Okay, so I'll show you. Just give me a minute. Okay, all right. So see what is here. This part is clear, right? Just one input. It is taking the user, enter user, and then submit. And then yes, one input and one submit. And then it has a link to create a new user, which is the redirecting us to the create endpoint. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
So in input field, why do we take ID? What's the use of taking ID?
Okay, I'll show you. So see what is happening here. One thing, IDs are used to target input, right? Target an element.
But for that we use name. Name.
So name is something that will be the field that we put into the text that we put into the field. Okay, so let me just show you this part if it is still open. No, I've closed it. So see what will happen when in the form. Okay, so it will show a text box where you can enter the text. Okay, whatever text you put there will be assigned to username as a value. So username becomes the key, and that the value that you have entered becomes the value. Okay, now why is ID used? ID is just simply used here to say that this input is the label for enter user. Okay, so you see this, right? Label for. So for the value of that for is the ID. Okay, so this says the HTML that this enter user will be a representation of the text field, or will show that this is the text field that you will have to enter user. This is where you will have to enter user. Okay.
But sir, if in case we leave that for field blank, even then it works quite smoothly without any error. In the label.
Without using the label.
In the label field, we keep writing that ID is equal to user in for section. In for is equal to double quotes user. If we keep writing that user over there, then also it works fine. Then
yeah, it works fine. There is only one difference. Okay, so if you click on enter user, not here on the rendered page. Okay, just give me a minute, I'll show you. So this is the Okay, this is the folder. Okay, this is the template, and this no, where were we? Okay, we were here in week 10. Okay, and these are the templates. Okay, and if this file is there, I'm not sure. Okay, so I'll try to open this file. Okay, so see what happens is if I click on this user, did you see what happened? This text field got highlighted.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Was it
Now I got it.
happening? Yeah, was it happening when you did not target it?
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, so that was the difference. Otherwise, it will still show no issues, but it will not get highlighted because this enter user text doesn't know what it is labeled for.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So I'll go back to this page where I was saving. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. This form is also clear, pretty simple form. So I'll copy this. Yeah, and write it in this place. Okay, so we got the front.html and create.html ready. One other thing that we need is, what is the other file? The show, the information, right? So when you see the form where you need to add the name, one is the other form where you add the information, one is the other HTML page where you see all the information. Okay, so I'll create one more file called as show.html. Okay, by the way, I'm a bit afraid here because there is no electricity at my home and my laptop's battery is dying. Okay, so you have to bear with me if this switches off, if I leave the meeting. Okay. Okay, so this show.html will simply render information. So it will be some of the templates and stuff. Okay, so so for now, I will not explain the show.html because we do not have enough components to understand it for now. Okay, so I'll simply copy it. Where are we? Here. Right, see, so we are having some, what we say, the print stuff, the print template thing, the Jinja templating for print, but we do not have this response, username and stuff. So for now, I'll leave it as is. I'll explain this later. Okay, I'll simply copy it.
So once we make these templates, it is like we can use it for many other things, no?
Yeah. Once you make this template, you can use it for rendering multiple information at the same time, right? What increases with different information is the number of controllers.
Okay, yeah.
Got it. So see, so since this part, I'm saying this. So what happens is we render a template and add the information, right? Data, whatever it is. So that data gets rendered by this template. Now you can render this page only once and add the data only once for one controller. If you want to do it for multiple, you have to create multiple controllers rather than creating multiple files.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the difference. Okay, so we got the 3 HTML files ready. Now we are in the app. So a basic part of app is done.
So
Yeah.
we all the Python codes we refer those with controllers, right?
No, all the view functions here. The view functions along with the URI are the controllers.
Okay.
So this is
The
the view
function
function.
the function that follow app.route is called view. And
yeah, that is called as a view function. And the complete block app.route, the function mapping to the URI is called a controller.
Okay.
Okay, so for now, how many controllers we have? We have 2 controllers here. Okay, one linked with /home, one linked with /create. And that is the reason I was saying we can, render one page with one controller. Yeah, 2 pages because we are using conditions. That's it. But at one time, one thing will happen.
And
Yes.
so we can link one HTML page with more than one controller, right?
Yeah, you write here front.html. For both the controllers, same front.html will get rendered. Okay, in place of this create.html. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so this is basic of this application. Now we'll go with the database. Okay, so in the database we will work with SQL alchemy. So we'll use from Flask score SQL alchemy import SQL alchemy. So once SQL alchemy is imported, we'll instantiate it. So we'll instantiate it with db equals SQL alchemy. That's it. And then we'll create class, not the capital one. This is the user class. Here we will define fields that we want to save. Okay, so first will be the ID. Use it as user ID. Okay, it will be db dot. Yeah, and then this user class has to be, has to be inherited from db.model class. These things are prerequisite that we need to do. Then there is db.column. Okay, and then first user ID is definitely an integer, so it will be integer, and then it will also be primary key set to true. Okay, it is primary key, so it will automatically be unique, and then we'll have username. Yeah.
Why did we call the db.model? We are just saying that this is the model of the database, right?
Yeah, but see, this classes have to be linked with the database, right? This class is,
Okay.
if you do not put this, it is a simple Python class,
Yeah. Okay.
right? So this has to be, it has, see, this has this db.column. How will this class know what is db and what is column? Okay, so
Okay.
these are predefined instances, predefined objects of db.model class, which are
Sure.
inherited when we put it in the bracket.
Okay.
Right, so so db.column.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So, like we used to do before, why are we not doing app.configure SQL database URI?
Where
That
here?
line we are not. Yes, sir. We are
Here.
not writing.
Where is
Yes,
app?
sir. Sir, we will initialize. We will instantiate the app. That line is also missing.
Yeah, okay. But then that will be altogether a different app. Right? How it will know that this is the app we are talking about?
So, okay, sir. That
Right?
means
So for
we have.
that, whatever I'm creating here is created here and instantiated here. Okay.
Okay, and that means
Okay, so
we
we'll
are.
come back to that. Okay, one thing is,
Okay.
see, when you have the Flask and Flask SQL Alchemy both in one page, for that you will have you'll import Flask and from Flask import Flask and stuff. Okay, and then here itself you will create app like this, right? So here your app is also here, your DB is also getting instantiated here. So here you can pass argument as app, right? But this application is not here. So you cannot then if you try running this, it will ask you what is this app.
So can we import that app from that file?
So rather we will import all this stuff into that app. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So that is the correct way,
Okay.
because all the configuration is being done in this app.py. What is the final file that you will be running? App.py. Okay. So all these things are created here and instantiated in the app.py.
Okay, sir. Okay, got it, sir.
Okay. So yeah. So we will continue with creating the model. So db.string doesn't matter for now that it is how long it should be. We'll just add certain constraint that it should be unique. Okay, and it cannot be empty. Okay, and then what was the other thing? Email. Okay, by the way, should I take this model from that page? Okay, I'll just do that. I'll explain. Okay, so this is the original page. We'll go to database.py, and this is the thing that we were doing. Yeah, so what I've done, I've simply created, 4 more fields: db.column, db.string. That's it, because all these things are strings. I just wanted to put a unique constraint in username, so I kept that as it is. So this is our model, and that is it. That is all that is required in the database.py file. Okay, now now we'll go to the doubt that you had. Now, since it is created here, this needs to be instantiated here. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go with db, okay, dot init app, and then give app to it. Okay, this is how it is instantiated. This is how the database that we have created here knows that we are talking about this app. Okay, but now what is db? We don't know that, right? So for this module doesn't know that. So for that, we'll have to import this db. Okay, from where? From database. Okay, from database import db. That's it. So this will import the db, and yeah.
I saw in one earlier example that from database was referred as from dot database, referring to the class file. Is there any convention that we need to use dot always, or this will also work?
No. This will depend, right? See, if you see this folder structure, week 10-1, my all the Python files are in the same folder.
Same folder. Okay.
Right. But what will happen if my application is to retrieve a file or a module which is not present in the root directory, but on some other folder which is there in the root directory. So if you observe that, what you have seen, that there is an application folder where you have kept the database.
Okay.
Right. So in that case, we'll have to add dot.
Okay, so this is the dot, but no need the application folder I need to mention. This dot is like find somewhere that this file is there in the application, like that, is it?
Yeah, that is one way, or simply provide application.database. That's it. That will also work.
Either dot or the actual path.
Actual path. Yes.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Hello,
but
sir?
I think in Replit it doesn't work without dot.
In the same folder structure also?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not sure about that because I have not done that.
Hello, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, one request. Can you first show the API part code only, then like if the electricity gone, like then we can refer it from the YouTube.
Yeah, but the thing is, see, API, even if I create API, I'll have to instantiate it somewhere. Okay, no issues. So we are done. Okay, this is database file is done. Okay, so we'll go to API only. Yeah, so this is our resources.py. I'm really sorry if the light goes because I don't know why. Okay, so we will go from, okay, so here we'll be using Flask RESTful, right? So Flask, from Flask RESTful import. So there are two things that we will importing: API, this API, and a resource, because we need to create class. Okay, and similarly here, so just in the database, what did we do? We created the DB, right? So here also we'll create an API. It will be API. That's it. Okay, it will be instantiated in the app.py file. Okay, then we'll create class. Let's say it is so the class that I've created was user info. Okay, and it is inherited from resource. Same things. If you try to take the analogy, same thing is happening. Okay, here, but here we will be defining the function, right? So first will be get. Okay, and get, we will, here, since it is a class thing, we'll have to use things like self and all. Okay, get self. What this thing does is, what we need to do is, firstly, okay, so we'll stop it here, but we'll go to app.py. Okay, and we'll try to instantiate that too. So from resources or resource, import API, right? And has to be initiated like this: API dot init underscore app underscore sorry, bracket app. Yeah, so it is created there, initiated here. Okay, now if I see, if I have now if I created this part, then I can use things like app.config here. Okay, app.config, it is SQL alchemy underscore database underscore URI. Okay, and that is equals to a string which looks like SQLite dot slash slash let's say it is data dot SQLite 3. Okay, so this will be created. Okay, now one issue is there still, so I'll show you later. We'll go back to resources. So in get, what is happening here? We are so if you go to the controller home, what we see is these things, right? So in the get, simply when we go to this root, it shows so it showed the front.html. Okay, in the front.html, here it will give a post method and add all this stuff. Okay, what was the first thing that it will have, or one of the only thing, that is the username. Okay, so we'll have to take this username. And this means that somewhere we will have to provide the username to the API, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to the resources and add a variable called username. Okay, what this will do, it will take that username from the form, and my controller with the username that I've given will call this API. Okay, and then we'll call this API and try to get the information. Okay, so I have this username. What I can do is I can try to create that user. Okay, so I'll write a user. I'll create the object with this username. Okay, user dot query dot filter by username, which is the variable of our database or the table. Okay, username dot first, and we always retrieve the first entry because we're taking only one value. Okay, so this is user, but problem is this application doesn't know what is user. Okay, so that needs to be imported. So from database import user. Okay, and again we will, so while saving, right, while adding a new thing, we will write will create session and add things. So that is done by using db.session, db.add, right? So here we will also need to import db. Okay, so I've done it just now only, so that we don't have any import issue. Okay, so what this get thing will done, it will it will try to retrieve the username. So what this thing that was initially written in the controller, now we are writing in the API. Okay, so it see that it finds this object. If it is there, what it does is it will return the object information in the form of dictionary. Okay, what are the fields that we are taking here? The username, right? Username. How it will get to the username? User dot username. Okay, what is this? This user dot username comes from this object, which is assigned as a value to this key username. Okay, and then when this API runs, this will be returned as, this dictionary will be returned as a JSON. So we'll try to return all those values. Email equals to it will be user dot email. Similarly, other stuff, right? So it was course. Dot course and institute. I'm hoping that I could show one at least. Okay, so we got this information. So this is something that is being written. So with this, we'll also try to return the status code, that is 200. Okay, so I'll go back here. Yeah, so it returns this. We can also shape it, but that is fine. Okay, so this is how we will try to get the get method. We'll try to use the get method. Okay, so it will be creating this object user and thing, and then it will be returning after it retrieves that object. Okay, now this has to be, now this is the API. For that, I will also have to add the resource, right? So I will use API dot add resource. What are we using? User info class. Okay, and what is the thing? Let's say it's API slash in the string API slash user slash what is the name? Okay, username.
Sir is disconnected.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I think Adarsh battery got disconnected, so I think we can wait for some time and then we can. I think he should be joining from phone. So let me give let me message.
Yeah, he told that his laptop charge isn't there. And
Yeah.
before
I think the session, the thing that he was explaining, I think that is not possible. So I think we can continue with the normal open session that we had planned on Saturday. Yeah, so he is joining from phone, I guess.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
I have one query regarding the project.
Okay. Can you give me 2 minutes and then
Yes. Okay, ma'am. Okay.
yeah. I'm just sending him the link so that he can join from the phone.
Hello.
Yes, Adarsh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Sonal. So the problem is I've joined by phone, so I do not have any way to code back. It was really unexpected. So really sorry. I don't know how this happened.
Yeah. So one student was asking that when we are expecting the rest of the session.
Yeah. So the very next session, not the very next session. See, the next session on Wednesday will be joined in by faculty. Okay. So so this will be this is a design. This session is decided so that you can clear your doubts before quiz. Okay. So just as we have one faculty session before the quiz, we will be having this session on Wednesday. Okay. So the faculty Professor Nitin will be joining probably by sometime by 5:30 because Wednesday session is on 5, and so we can have this session on Friday itself. Okay, the next solve with instructor session. Okay, so this is something that I can think of currently.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Rakesh.
I have one project related query.
Yeah.
That if I like in my application, if I put all the like code functionalities and front end and back end validation, all the things, and if I am not able to complete the whole API thing, then can I get the full marks?
Yeah, sure, Rakesh. So that won't be an issue. API is something. See, so if you're creating API, you should be able to document it. Okay, that is one thing. So if you want to employ APIs in your application, now it is required that you document it. So if by any chance you're not putting in APIs, it will be completely fine. Only that,
Yes, sir.
only that you will lose some portion of bonus marks.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, so this is not the exact figure I'm talking about, and I'm just giving an example. Okay, so let's say the Viva and project and everything is of 100 marks. Okay, so we are keeping 10 marks for the bonus. This is not an exact figure. Okay, so let's say we are keeping 10 marks for the bonus. So now this bonus will be a combination of this API implementation. Okay, any additional features that you have incorporated in an application. Okay, that was not stated in the question statement. Okay, your aesthetics. Okay, if you have used any, so aesthetics also come in additional feature, right? So all these things and some other criteria that we'll be judging on at the time of bio. Okay, so complete all the 10 bonus marks are not are the valuation of the API itself. They are combination. Okay, now for example, let's say 30% of those 10 marks are hello, am I audible?
Sir, for a few seconds, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, so did you get the idea that the bonus marks that we are giving is not only for the API?
So got it.
Right. So you might lose some fraction of those bonus marks if you are eligible to any.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the thing. You won't lose marks from. So you have completed everything, achieved all the functionalities. Did everything that was required. Then you are, capable of scoring complete full marks depending on your Viva.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Apart from documentation, what if I don't write API at all? I don't incorporate API in my code.
Yeah, no issues.
Then
That's what I said. So this is something that is recommended, and what will happen? You will still be able to score. So this is like your, if with API you should be able to score from 110. Okay, without API you should be able to score from 100. You getting? See, if you incorporate API, or you do not incorporate APIs, you can score 100 out of 100 depending on your Viva and how you respond and how you have created your project. Okay. If you have incorporated API, you are eligible for getting some bonus marks. Okay.
Okay.
So for any reason, if you do not, incorporate API, you can still score 100 marks, but will not be eligible for the bonus, the fraction of bonus that API holds.
And so in Viva, questions will be from project only or from theory portion also?
Both. So questions will be from project and as well as from the course, the 12-week content of the course.
Okay, sir. And
Will
that
not
will
go beyond that.
Okay, and that Viva will be conducted on 18th of March itself.
No. That Viva will not be conducted on 18th of March. The 18th of March is the deadline for your submission of project file, okay, your project report, and the video. Okay. After 18th of March, you will be, given certain slots where you can book a slot depending on your availability, and then your Viva will be held accordingly.
Excuse me,
And
sir.
that-
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Should I ask, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Sir, regarding API documentation, where should we store API documentation file like YAML? I'm not comfortable in documenting API. We have to send. Do we need to send it in the project folder?
Yeah, you can send it within the project folder. You save it as an YAML file.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so what we can do is take that YAML file and try to run it in any of the API UI. Okay, or for that matter, Postman.
Got it, sir. Sir, you were demonstrating API. You have written get API, but sir, I wanted to know how to pass, how to call API from the controllers. Can you give a little hint regarding that? As you lost
Yeah. So that was the next part that I was going to see. What we do is we use the request module of Python. Okay, what I would have done is I would have imported request. Okay, so how it works is from request. So this is with S. Okay, the request of Flask is only request, but the requests of Python is request. Okay, so with that.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So from request, you will import the methods, the STP methods, right? So we will be using get method and post method. Why? Because we have defined APIs that work on get method and post method, or we would have. So the way I have defined the get method API in the resource, I would have done that the same thing with the post. Okay, so I would have imported get and post from the request module, and would have used that get and post method of request module in the controller. Okay, now what happens is this request module, what you need to do is you need to pass URL. Okay, what will be the URL? The URL will be the resource URL of API. Okay, and store it in a variable. For example, you would write a response. Let's say the thing that we are getting from API is the response. So I've created a variable response equals to get in bracket the URL of API. Okay, and then that will get the response. That response is stored as an object. Okay, so the request library gives the response of API as an object, which needs to be converted to JSON. Okay, so don't worry, after this session I will give the entire source code of the session, because I already have a demo, right? I've already created to give you the demo, so I'll have that, and I will so you all can go through it, and if anything is not clear, we'll try to have a session on Friday.
Yes, sir, that will be fine.
Yeah, so I don't want to waste more of your time in again for the session. Since I have the code ready, I'll send it to you. Yes, I'll send it on Discourse.
Okay, sir. Sir, and you told that request.post, and in that we have to get a username and password from the HTML part, from the view part. So from that, like request.form.get username, and we need to pass that in our with the URL. Like when we are requesting to API, like request.post in like we are doing login, and we are calling API with request.post and passing the URL, and then we need to also pass those username and password from the HTML page we have got.
Yes.
Okay, sir, and then but the problem is that, sir, that when API calls, and then we have to maintain those things, username, password, for protecting the another pages. Like we have to give tracker name, tracker list details. So how can we achieve those things now?
So what you need to do is you need to create a session, okay, and you need to save this username and password in the session, or you can save only one. Okay, let's say you are saving the password in the session and you create a session on the base of password. Okay, now see how, so when you render any file after that, you first check if so let's say I've created a password, okay, and I've stored it in the session. Okay, so my session will have a key called password, and its value will be the password, okay, whatever you have stored in. Okay, what you need to do is, you every time, if you want nobody else to access it, what you need to do is you will have to check whether the password exists in the session or not. Okay, so you can create a condition where you can write if this, or whatever the password is, if this in session, then you allow some rendering, otherwise do not. So it will never render.
Okay, sir. So and we need to store those things, like we get response from API when we call request.post with headers, username and password, and then
Okay,
we get response from the API. So we need to store it somewhere in that controller only, and then
so
we need to pass.
that will be stored as an object in the variable.
Okay, when we are when in variable, when we are storing those when we are calling those URL with the headers,
Hmm.
and we are storing in the variable like response, so that will be
Hmm.
stored in the variable response.
Yes, as an object.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then you'll have to retrieve that information by converting that object to JSON. Okay, how will you do that? By simply saying, for example, a response is the name of the variable. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just pass response.json. That's it, JSON method. It will convert the object and its information in the JSON. Okay, now your this response.json will be a simply JSON which can be retrieved from anywhere. So information also can be targeted just as we do as a dictionary.
That we need to pass through API when we are returning API, returning from API, like in dictionary form, session username and password.
Yeah, so that is dictionary where you pass in the data, but the information that comes in from the API by the request module is stored as an object. So object is for us is of no use because it does not have a MIME type of JSON or HTML, right? An object cannot be rendered by the HTML file. It will be rendered as simply as an object. So you need to retrieve the information. That's why we need to convert it into JSON. I would have shown it in detail had there been this electricity. Okay, but yeah, so I still have the source code, right, the complete, so I'll send that source code. So based on that, if there are any doubts, then you can post it on Discord or ask me in the live sessions that will be coming in the next week.
Okay, sir. Sir, just one another
Okay,
question, sir.
so yeah, so that is the thing. Yeah, yeah.
Sir, when we get response from API call, then we have to redirect it. When the login is successful, then we have to redirect the user to the dashboard where the tracker list is contained. And we, so when we are redirecting to the user, we pass URL for, and then we call that function, dashboards function, controller, we call. So we need to pass those session password username to that redirection.
No. So this session and password, session and information in the session is stored in the server, right? So it can be, so if you can pass it to the template. Okay, you can pass it to the template, but see, how have these things like username and password got saved into the session? Because how have these have done from the form itself, right? So it's better to save, or it's better to render the template with the form information rather than session information. Okay, let session be there only to define some information that, okay, this is the user we are talking about. That is for the use of application and the server. Okay, do not try to render any information from session into the HTML file.
Okay, sir.
Right.
I'm
So
not
can
I'm
it
not
not be
getting it.
done? No, it can be easily done. But why do you want session information to be completely visible on the HTML? Okay, so that is the thing. We can, and that session information is anyway coming from the form itself. So it's better to render the form information. Am I clear? Are you satisfied with the response, by the way?
Sir, I'm just not getting like that part. How do we need to pass those response from the API which we got to another page, like in the dashboard page? Because in controller, when we redirect it, we rewrite user to
See,
dashboard page.
the dashboard page will have the information only, right?
Yes, sir.
Which will be what? How will you see the information on browser? What file was it? It was an HTML that got rendered,
Yes, sir. Hmm.
right? So you can use render template, that HTML file, and send that data as a data. The way we put data in HTML file. So in controller, you're getting in controller when we render template. Also, along with the render template, there is one more parameter that we can provide is all the data that we want in the HTML file. Right. So how it should be? It should go to a particular URI. So information flow or the program flow should be go to a particular URI that retrieves information. Okay. So you are now in a controller. Now controller will hit or call for an API. Okay, that API and will give certain data if required. Okay, to the API. Now that API will retrieve information and come back to the controller as a response. Okay, once you get the response, you can save this response as a JSON. Okay, now this information in the response has to be sent to the dashboard, right? So you can you can send, you can go to render template. Okay, render the information, render the information with the render template along with the information that you're saving as a response. Okay, that is one thing. What I think what you are trying to ask is, now that controller is controller got the information, and now you are not returning to a render template, you are returning a redirect. Okay,
Yes, sir.
now in that redirect, how that information is to be given to that URI is what you're saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so see that you create the URI such that it is taking it is taking variables as a string, right? A URI can take information within the URI, right?
Yes, sir.
For the very reason we use converters.
So, and then how do we fetch those variable from the controller?
You can put those variables into the string, sorry, into the URL.
So, like I'm redirecting the user to URL for, and then I'm putting the controller name, and then I'm with comma, I'm putting the variable. In variable, it is saved. Username and password is saved, and I'm redirecting user to those dashboard controller which I have written. And then how can I fetch that variable in the controller dashboard's controller. I'm asking about that, sir. I got that much part. Like I can save that those information in the variable, and I can.
Yeah, but see, with the scenario you're saying, it seems that see what should happen after putting password, username and password. Okay, after putting username and password in the login page, and when you submit, it should go back. It should go to the dashboard, right?
Yes, sir.
It should go to the dashboard. Why do you need a different URI for that? You can simply render template, right? So
Okay, got.
you're putting the information in the login page, okay, submitting it, and then submit. After submitting that information is used to do some stuff at the back end. Okay, and then when the information is processed the way you want, you are redirecting it with something else. Why do you want that? It is, or what you want to do, what you can do is directly call for that API in the dashboard URI, in the dashboard controller.
Okay, sir.
Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir. I'm getting. I do not need to redirect. I can just render template. I can just render dashboard's template which I've written there only. When I get response from login, I get okay response from login. I guess I get like when you get 200 okay message, then we should return. I should just render template from there only. I
Yeah,
guess you're
one
telling
thing,
that.
either you render template from that controller, or you see the information. What you are doing is you are using one controller to retrieve information and another controller to show your information,
Yes, sir. I'm doing that only. Yes.
right? So and then information should be passed from one controller to another controller.
Yes, sir.
Why is, why that should not be done, right? Either you take information from one controller and give that information to another controller by using string methods of the URI, or the converter method. How do you pass a variable in the URI? By using converters, right? So that is one way. And another way is directly call for API in the that controller where you want the information to get rendered.
Sir, can you explain about that converter thing? When we
See, you have done work on this. I'm um, uh, uh, just with the name you're getting tense. I'm typing on chat. Okay. So let's say you have app.route. Okay, so I'll try to write both the thing, right? One is where you are receiving information. Okay, so I've sent one. See, this one is something a simple one, right? This is where you can take get information. So this is at the rate app.route, and in bracket you have this URI slash home. Okay, and methods and all I have not written because okay, that is okay, right? So you go to this method, sorry, this URI, okay, and within this URI we'll try to get the the API. Okay, wait. The wait, I'm trying to connect with my laptop. The electricity has come. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay, just give me.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah, so is there any more queries regarding what others were saying? Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, what is mime type JSON?
Devi ma'am, are you there? Okay, let me. Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, am I audible, Sona?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay, finally. Okay, so, okay, where was I, by the way? Yeah, so I was,
I guess,
Yeah, I got it. So I was giving, reference of two controllers and thing, right? Yeah. So see, what is happening is, just give me a minute. I'll open the files that we were working with. Okay, so actually, since I logged out, I do not have the provision to share my screen. I'll get it. But till now, what I was doing is, uh, what I was saying is, see, so what you need to do, whose doubt was it, by the way?
So it was mine.
Okay, yeah, sorry, Nivesh, sorry for this breakage of link. So what I was trying to do, till the time I'm able to, share my screen again, what I was trying to do, I'll tell you. See, so what you're doing is you are trying to, import the information from the API, right? Fetch the information from the API in one controller. Okay. Now, what happens is once the information is fetched, you can render template and put that information in the template. Okay. Other thing is, if you have a different URI for dashboard, what you need to do is you need to send that information as a part of link or the URI itself, right? But it will not be a great idea to do so. Why? Because you cannot send complete information as a part of links. Okay, you might have a very big information and you don't, and the URLs have a certain limit. Even if you want to send multiple information, multiple type of information, just as we send in the dictionary, it should not be done with the help of link or the URI, right? So it is better to either call the API directly into that and then render information from there. Okay, so what you can do is you can go to that controller which will ask you for getting this information, getting that information, and then redirect to the dashboard controller and then call the API.
Okay. But the problem is that I've written different API for that dashboard also, because we in the dashboard we need to calculate something. We need to have some function there. We need to query with trackers and all that things. So do we need to call? Do we need to request two APIs in dashboard in the controller?
You can and save it as different responses. No issues with that, but do not complicate that. Okay, it will be, see, if you are in a login page, you put your credentials, you should be directed to your dashboard directly, right?
Yes, sir. But in dashboard I have to list tracker details, and for that I have to calculate those things, like query those things, and those things are written in different APIs. So that is another call to that API. And how can we call that API in the login page? Like I have a login controller written, and that login controller is calling the login API, requesting that API login API, and in that login API I am querying username and password, and that for which you told that to store response
Okay.
in.
So the problem is to what information you want to send to the dashboard. What is the information? What is this information?
Like dashboard is protected, that particular user should get their dashboard only, and not anyone just can like slash profiles as a user, and it should see those information. And for dashboard I've written another controller, and that controller is calling the API thing, which is calculating those that is querying those trackers list details. And
Okay. See, in that case, what you do is, see, if the information is not very big, you can save it in session. Okay. So let's say your one controller takes the information from form. Okay. Save it to the session. Save that information to the session and redirect to the dashboard URI. Now, when you go to the dashboard URI, you retrieve that information from the session.
Sir, and how can we do that? In the return of API login, I should return session information, and when I get response in the login controller, I should save those session information. And you're saying that we need to pass those session information in the URI to which I'm
No,
redirecting to.
then you don't need to do anything in the URI because the information is already stored in the session. Okay, you go that with two controller thing that we were talking, right? So one controller takes the information from the API and stores it in the session, and redirects to the other controller. Only redirection, no transfer of information here. Okay, so once you are redirected to that that particular URI, the controller is linked to that URI. What it should do? It should retrieve information from the session. Okay.
Okay, sir.
You can try that, right? So it will retrieve information from the session.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Just 1 minute, sorry. Just one. Nivesh, do you have idea how to work with session?
Sir, I've done it using like Flask login in the controller, and now I have to implement those in APIs. So I do not have any experience regarding that.
That was the problem. Did you were you in the session in the live session where I said employing Flask login, just make sure you can do that within pages, in multiple pages.
But till then, sir, I've already done that, and from there only I got that we can do those things with session also.
Yeah. See, the problem is Flask login secures only some URIs that are linked to that particular user, because there is an object called current user. So current user will save all the information that is there. Now, how, I'm not sure what is the scope of this current user.
So current user can retrieve ID, username, and all that things.
No, that is the information that is being stored in the current user, right? Okay,
Yes,
that is how you address a current user or the user that is working in the session, in the Flask login session, and then you edited the information. That is one thing. Okay, but what is the scope of this current user? Does it work within only that controller or in the controllers that are in the other modules or not? That is something I was not sure.
No, sir, we need to add decorator to every controller, like add login required.
Add login required you need to do.
Yes, sir.
So in that case,
yes, sir, continue, sir.
Yeah, so once you make that controller decorated with login required, that is a different thing. But will that controller have the information as that is? Will that controller be able to retrieve information from current user? Is what I'm thinking.
Yes, sir, it was able to do. I've written those things. I've written all the things in the controller, and every page was protected. That particular user was getting their view only. I'm logging, but we need to do those things in APIs. And
so this
yes.
So this current user can it save some values by ourselves? Can we manually save some values in the current user? Did you try that?
Yes, sir. Like in the login API, I just what I did that I have to call that login user function where I need to pass that those users query, and that login user then that login function would save those user information. And in the decorator of dashboard which I have written, what I did, I just added a decorator app at login required, and then it was what it was doing that it was saving those information in current user. So whenever I was querying, I required a user's information, any user information like user dot query and user dot id is equal to current user dot id. So in that controller, it was able to fetch those current users information, and then I could query with that user id with to which it is related to another tracker, and all that information I could get. So I could it was able to do those things in the controller at login, but I have no experience how if it can do it in the API also. So it now it becomes a little bit complex by adding API things.
Yeah, got it. Okay. See, I'm not really sure, but we need to find out to say how to send this current user to API. Can you try doing that? Try importing current user in the API from app.
I don't know, sir. I was looking for JWT now in API. Like it can do something like JWT identity something, and so I don't know if it can do in API. I have to see to that. That was my doubt regarding this. So only I attended this session.
I am getting your doubt. That's what. So, see, initially when we had, the queries regarding the Flask login, and students asking about if they can use Flask login instead of session. Yeah, so you can go ahead with that. It is pretty simple because most of the things are done by the library itself, right? It provide things like current user and login mix. Sorry, user mix in login underscore manager. All these things it provides, and it makes our things easy. But I didn't know what was the scope of current user. That is the reason I said, okay, before employing, just make sure you can use, because this information is going from one controller to another controller, one API to another API, which are again stored in different files. So how do you send this information from one place to another? That was my issue actually. That was I was a bit skeptical about directly recommending Fast login. Okay, no issues. Yeah, so I'll try to see what can be done, Nilesh. Okay, you go ahead with the other parts, or not very good alternative for now, like simply passing information in the URL and stuff. Okay, just to get the things done, and then if you find a better way to do that, how to transfer values or information with the current user object within files, we'll see if that is possible.
One thing was that sir, you were telling about passing information in the URI when I'm redirecting to that particular controller URI. You told to pass variable also. We were like separating with comma, and sir, and there was something like request.args. We can call in that controller, like in dashboards controller. We can call something like request.args.
No, that is rec parse. That is a part. That is a rec parse is a
not
method
rec parse.
of Flask RESTful.
Request.args
Okay, request
dot args. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. But I don't know about those. What it does? I don't have any idea about that.
Currently, even I don't know about that part. Okay, so with that and all, with the WJT thing and all that you told, let me go through some content and try to come up with a solution to that.
Okay, sir. Sir, I've done JWT in API. Like I'm able to log in, and I'm able to register user, but I'm not able to let user go to their dashboard. I'm not able to do those things. I'm able to log in, and I'm able to register with those in the Postman, and also in the view part also. But I'm not able to pass those information to those dashboards. Like I cannot do those functions now.
Okay,
JWT is creating the token, and it is able to pass those token also. But I am not able to do anything. How can I use those token in go to another controller? I do not have any idea.
Okay. Okay. So Nimesh, see what I'm doing is I'm writing my email ID here. Okay. What you can do is send me your code. Okay. So that I don't need to search through the entire content and only focus on what is the issue. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. I'll go to the code and see what exactly is happening with the thing of current user, right? So I'll only focus on that part and then try to come up with the solution if there is any. Okay.
Should I send the whole project in zip? Should I zip and send it to you?
Yeah, you can do
Okay,
that.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
All right. Yeah, Saurabh. Yeah. So should we continue with this API thing or what? Because we have, I guess, a very less time. I guess 10 minutes only. Yeah. So anyway, I'll send the source code in the discourse today itself, or not on the discourse. It will be available in the portal. Yeah, okay, cascade deletion. Okay, Ravi, I'll go through and have a look at it. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll not continue with this part today, but you will get the source code today itself. Okay, in the portal, in the solve with instructor source code section. Okay, you can go through it. If anything is not clear, then you will have a and we will also have this session so that I can continue with the code and get things working. Okay, so that I can do. Okay. Yeah, so that is something we'll try to do. Different ports for API and controller. Yeah, you can have. How can we add? See, at the end of the day, see what you'll have to do is you'll have to run both of the application as an app. Okay. So you will have to create an API also and run it as an application, and also create the Flask app and run it as a different application. Okay. So what we do is in the API, you can create an API as a different file and run it in the Python. Okay, and the Flask app as a different part and run it in the Python again. Okay, two different files. Okay, but what is the purpose, by the way? Why do you want to have different ports? Okay. Okay, Saurabh, you wanted to ask something from long time? Hello. Okay, no issues. Any other doubts? Okay, so with some time, should I take some time and add this get part at least? I think that is doable. Okay, we'll do that. Just give me a minute. Okay, so is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we were here, right? Adding a resource. Okay, we are using this user class. We're adding a resource, and then we've added this as a user as a variable, right? So we are passing the username as a variable. That is the reason we have this variable here. Okay, so that we can link these both. Okay, so we have defined an argument username. How do we give this argument to this get function? By this. Okay, so I'll just write username here, and that is probably it. Okay, so this is it for the API part. Okay, we have created API. What it does is it retrieves that information based on the username that we have given. Okay, that username will be available in the link. Okay, retrieves that information and returns the JSON and also the status code. Okay, so this is the resources part is done. Okay, now we need to go to app. Okay, so I'll try to run this and we'll see what happens.
Sorry, forgot the closing angular bracket in the resources thing.
Just give me a minute. Where?
In the resources one, string username.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So that means okay, it was completely taking as a string. No issues. Okay, there was one more issue with the database, I guess. What was that? About db.string. Okay, let's see. Okay, it says course column dot string, and then it was some bracket issue. Course here.
Sir, I think we generally do not put parentheses there. We put parentheses only when we need to specify the length, I guess. Like, I've been doing that, and it works.
Okay, I think that is not an issue because if I go to the other file, see, this is the one that I've created previously, so it had no issue. It ran properly. Some spelling mistake or what? db.column plus string course. Inconsistent use of tabs and spaces. Okay, it is an indentation error. Okay, let's see. From database info db. So then db py, we are having some indentation error.
You can actually press backspace and then press the tab again, probably in the line which it is saying.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, simply maybe because we have copied it, no? So there must be an issue.
Yeah. Mostly it happens like whenever it is like different, like in Linux they use something different and in Windows they use different. So maybe it might be that if you might have put in that thing in Linux.
Okay. Yeah, see, what I understand from this is, see, when you copy, this part is also copied where blank space is also a character. So might be
Yes,
adding
sir.
an extra character.
Yeah.
Okay, no module found resource. We have not imported resource. Where exactly? In app. Because it is resources. Okay. URLs must start with a leading slash. Sure. Okay, where have we put any URL?
Probably in the resources thing, I guess.
Yeah, okay. This one. Okay, some minor issues. Okay, now it's fine. Okay, so what we will do is we'll try to get the first thing, that is home. Okay, see, the problem is here we'll try to run this. Let's see. So it ran, and what will happen if I try to find a user? Nothing happens, right? Because we have not set for that. We do not have a DB created even. Okay, so we'll now try to create a DB. So we'll go back to our code. Yes, not this one. Okay, so right, see, we do not have a DB. We do not have a database instantiated also. Okay, so our API is ready here. We'll go to our database. This model part is okay. We'll go to app. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll try to create the DB. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we'll use this.
So just a quick question.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when we specify the SQL Alchemy DB URI, if we just write like whatever we have written the path, basically by default it looks for the DB in the home directory of the project, right? Or
So it
does it look in
will
the
create a DB.
No. I'm asking like when we are specifying the SQL Alchemy database URI and we are putting the path SQLite and // and database.sqlite3.
Okay.
That thing looks in the home directory of the project. Am I right? Or
Looks
does
for
it
what?
looks for the database?
No, it actually creates the database.
It
It
creates
says
the data.
that, yeah, whenever you will have this command of db.create all, you go to this folder structure and create a database with the name that we have specified. This one.
Okay, yeah. So this folder
So
structure
currently,
okay. Home folder basically. That's what I'm saying.
yeah. This is the home folder.
Okay.
Okay, so currently we do not have any database here, right? So what it
Excuse
does
me,
is
sir.
still here it shows that, yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir. May I ask my doubt?
Yeah, sure.
So if I want to pass two path parameters while redirecting to some other URL, then how should I do that? I want to redirect to some URL like /login. Along with that, I want to pass two path parameters. Then what is that syntax for that?
Two path parameters as in two parameters you have to give.
Yes, sir. Two parameters. One is user ID, other is date time.
Yeah. That's what. So so what that is the problem here. That is the problem. So if there are number of parameters increase, you will have to keep on adding with /.
That means I have
so for
to.
example, what you want to add this /. What you want to add?
User ID.
So this will be
user ID.
User ID. Yeah. So okay, converter will look after later, and then date time, right? So it has to be done something like this. So the URL keeps on increasing. You'll have to add every parameter one by.
That means we are changing the URL itself.
Yeah. So anyway, you'll have to change the URL, right? So if you want to add parameters, the URL will be anyway changed.
Means I have to separate each path parameters by /.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, which is not a very good way of doing that.
And sir, what is MIME type JSON?
MIME type is MIME type is actually a type which can be interpreted as JSON. Okay, which can be interpreted as JSON. For example, the response that we are getting of API, what was the response? The using request module, it is a object.
Application/JSON.
No, object. The response, not of API. The response from the request module. Okay, if you try to hit the URL of an API or the resource link of an API, the response of that API is stored as an object. Okay, in our controller. Okay, now if we try to directly print that controller, directly send that controller or return that controller, it will not be able to return it. Okay, what it will return? It will return simple text or JSON. Okay, for that, the things that we are returning have to be convertible to a JSON. Okay, they have to get converted, but they should be able to convert into a JSON. Okay, so that is the thing. That is called as MIME type. I'm not sure how much clear you got, but the thing is, see, MIME type is the actual type in which, see, there are things like JSON serializable. Okay, you might have come across some error called as this return object or this return thing, whatever you are returning is not JSON serializable. Okay, so that is where you see that this is not something that can be converted into JSON, not serializable into a JSON. Okay, MIME types define the type of application that you are rendering. Okay, so what is the return type of that application that the browser is showing to you? Okay, for example, for API, what is the return type? Application or JSON. So the browser will show you the MIME type is application JSON. Okay, when you return this front.html, right? When you return any HTML file, the MIME type will be HTML or text/HTML. Okay, this is what type of response this return is giving us. Okay, or a route or a controller, what type of response it is giving. That type of response is represented by the MIME type. Okay, and if a response is not able to get converted, we call it into a JSON, we call it JSON not serializable. Okay, so these are all terminologies, you don't have to worry that much. Okay, MIME type. Okay, what is the type that you see on the browser? That is MIME type. That's it.
Okay, sir, got it.
Right, so for example, this is my HTML page. Let's go to inspect and let's go to network and okay, just reload this thing. Where do we reload this thing? Where is it? Okay, fine, we'll reload from here. Yeah, so here headers, the headers. Okay, okay, so it is not visible, that's why it's not showing. Okay, but see, whatever information is coming on the page, it will see content type. Okay, what is it? Application slash www form on URL encoded. Okay, it is showing the MIME. This is the MIME type of whatever we are seeing on the screen. Okay, so you need to know only two for now, that is JSON, application slash JSON, or text slash HTML, because mostly we'll be seeing that only. Okay, I guess the server is not running currently, so it's not sure. Okay, is that clear, Saurabh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so we will increase the font size. Okay, so what I'll do, from app import everything. Okay, from app import everything. Everything gets imported. Then since DB was imported in the app, DB will have app. Yes, it will be db dot create underscore all. Okay, we'll see an error. What is the error? What it says is application, no application found. Either work inside a view function or push an application context. Okay, what it says is you want to create a DB, but why are you creating the DB? There is no reason we see that you need to create a DB. How will you render that DB? How will you run that DB? Okay, this is the thing that the Flask is asking us. Okay, there is no app running. You have not linked this application to any this DB to an application. See, this will not do the trick. It is only instantiating the DB, okay, within the application. Okay, but it is not linking this DB with the app. Okay, this will the Flask app will not relate to our DB. Okay, whenever you try to find anything. Okay, whenever you try to create this DB. So this is the problem. How to get rid of this problem? Okay, so for that we have one more thing called as app underscore context. Okay, this is app context. What it says, either work inside a view function or push an application context. Okay, so this is the application context that we have created. Once it is created, you need to push it. Okay, now what it is doing, it is creating a context of application wherein you can create DB and work on DB within the application. Okay, let's try to save it and try to do the same thing again. Okay, is it saved or not? Let's get that. App.context. Okay, so application is created here, DB is initiated, API is initiated, and we called it. Okay, and then dot app context dot push. Okay, let me see what I'm doing here. We are at app. Okay, yeah, so same thing, right? We have created API, we have created DB, put it app, and then app.app context, and then we have to push it. Okay, let's see. Where is that? Before that, I'll save it. Set. Okay, some issues with path.
I think probably it is saying that we'll have to define the SQL database URI before the pushing thing. Is it so? I have no idea.
No, it is no. See, this is not the same error, right? Means that is fine.
Yeah, it is a different one.
Okay, so this is a different. So we'll go to this part to see what is happening here. Okay, let me see if the I'm missing out with some syntax or anything. App.config. Okay, there are three slashes under two. Okay, and let me simply copy this thing. Syntaxes are, that is the reason we can refer to the documentation anytime we want, because we cannot keep on learning the syntaxes. Okay, let's save this and try to do it again.
Screen, sir.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
sir, in Python shell, when we create database by firing this command from app import star. So from here, app is our app.py file, or app is some kind of
No, it is our module app.py.
module defined.
Yeah, the app.py module Python. That app.py. It is this app.
So can we write from app.py import everything, like import star?
No. App.py. No. You cannot call it by extension. Extensions are called only while running the application. Okay, that is the reason we call it Python space app.py. Okay, while calling, you only import with the module name. See, for example, here, Flask. It is not flask.py or database.py, although we have created database.py. So we are importing only from the module name. Similarly, while importing stuff, we will only use the module name and not any extension.
Same, sir, means same Python file is also called module.
Yes. Yeah, correct.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so now the database is created, we can exit this thing because we are done with the shell. Okay, now we have database created. We can see that we'll try to see what is created in the database. Okay, so I'll use this DB browser. Okay, and open the database. Okay, where exactly are we? Okay, so this was the folder. Yeah, this is the database. Okay, so it should have this table, right? User ID, username, email, course, institute, and about. Right, it should have this username. Okay, now what I'll do is since we do not have anything to post here, do not have anything to add information, I'll add the information manually. Okay, we'll have username, say Adarsh. Okay, email. Expand this so that you can see. Course is always mad one. Okay, institute, IITM. Okay, and about mad one will write okay, it is an important course for web development. So once this is written, I'll write the changes. Okay, now before going to the application, I'll also try to test my API through the Postman. Okay, I will try to test it, but for this my application should run. Okay, so I'll run my application, Python app.py. Okay, so my application is running now. I'll copy this URL and I'll also make a note of what URL I've created in the resource. Okay, resource. Okay, resources. So it is /API/user and then the name. Okay, and type it here. /API/user and /my name. Also check that the method is get. Okay, right. So see, so this API is working fine because it can retrieve my information from the database. Okay, now this is something that we have done. Whatever we have done till now is something that we have done. Okay, the only thing is this part. Okay, I'm really sorry for the background noise. Okay. All right, so here, not this. Okay, so my API is created. I'll go back to app.py, and then in the home or in the home, I want to show this, right? I want to show. Okay, and then how will I do that? It should first search home, okay, which will prompt me for the user, and when I post, it should give me this API, the information from this API, right? So what I'll do, I'll put this or save this information as a response in the variable. Okay, so it is a response, but for this I will have to import, right? I will have to import from request. It is request import get. Okay, so we are using only get, so I'll import only get, and then we can use that method directly, get. Okay, and then I'll have to hit this put this method directly completely there. Okay, remember from the HTTP all the way, not only the base URLs. Okay, but see, if so others will come only if I put others, right? It should not come always others, doesn't matter what input you are putting. So it cannot be hard coded as URL, right? So what can be done? What we will do, we'll try to take it from the form. If the request.form equals to post, what we will do, we'll get the name as request.form.get. Note that this request is from the Python, therefore it does not have S. Okay, and then we will get the username. Now this username should depend on should be the one that we are putting here. right? So it is username only, so we can use this. So we are taking the
Excuse me, sir.
username. Yeah.
So you are making difference between two requests. One is Python and other one is.
One is Python and other one is, sorry.
Sir,
Yeah. So this is Flask request, right? This request which deals with the things of form and method. Okay, this is from the Flask. And another is the Python module or the Python library called requests with S. Okay, that provides the HTTP methods, right? Like get, post, put. So it directly provides the HTTP method. So that is different, which is not a part of Flask. That's why we are using it differently. Okay, had it been a part of Flask, I would have imported it like this. Okay, request, but it is not like that.
Okay.
Got that? Okay.
Yes.
So then we got taken this name. Okay, now I want to put this name every time I hit this URL, right? So what I'll do, I'll make it as a format string. Okay, and just to specify that it is a format string, I'll put FH. Okay, so see, this is the URL dynamically changing every time when I put the name. Okay, now once it gets the response, what it should show? It should convert that response to JSON because it will get the object. Okay, I'll show you how it gets the object. Okay, I'll simply print the response here. This is object response.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Here, instead of using formatted string of Python, can't we use templating engine like double curly braces?
Double curly braces is a part of Jinja. We are not using Jinja here. You can use that same thing, but for that you need to import Jinja. From Jinja, import template, and then make this as a template, and then put the value, which is very long, right? Python it still provides a simple formatting.
Okay, sir.
Right. The double quotes can be directly used in HTML. So you don't need to import anything there. So there we use that Jinja too, but here we'll use format string because that is better.
But sir, in HTML code, we use that double curly braces irrespective.
Yeah, that's what, because that's what, because HTML is not a programming language, so you don't need to import things. It will by itself understand, okay, this is Jinja 2.
Okay, and for that to work, I have to install that Jinja 2 in my environment. Right?
We'll have to. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so see, this is the first response. Okay, I'm just converting this response to JSON because I want this thing to be targeted, right? The object that I'm getting is the complete this information, right? Now this information is coming as an object, but I need to target individually username, email, course, and stuff. So that's why I'm using this as converting that part into JSON. Okay, now once I get this as JSON, what I can do is return render template, and what I'll use then, I'll use show.html, which was defined quite before, right? So the show.html had things like this thing, response. Okay, now this is the response that I was talking about. Okay, now here, see, that response, that JSON can be approached or accessed. The content of JSON can be accessed like a simple dictionary. Okay, and we know that it has username, email, and things. That's why we have added all this in the form. Okay, in this HTML thing. Okay, now we'll go back to this app, and what we simply need to do is, where is this show? We simply need to pass this response to it. Okay, that is it. Okay, now let's see if this works. Okay, so we'll where are, okay, uni ident does not match any outer indentation. This is fine, okay, because this error may have come before. So we'll try to run this server again. Okay, let's see.
That is because you have used space there instead of tab, I guess. You had used space. Like try like pressing backspace and then pressing enter.
Here.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Let's see. No, I did not copy this thing, but okay. It's coming everywhere. No issues. Okay, so we will go to now the URL, this browser. We'll try to get that from browser. Okay, so for home, it should give me this thing, and then I know that I've created others as a this thing, so it should give me, yeah, right. So what it is doing? That it is employing an API. Okay, so let me go back to the code. Yeah, what it is doing, this is the code, right? Yeah, so what it is doing, when I go with the post, what it does is it takes the username and puts that username by sending a GET request to the API, right? So don't get confused. See, the post method is is put for this home URI, okay, and the GET method is put to this API where you put the name every time, a new name, okay, and that name depends on this, the one that we are taking from the form. Okay, now if we go back to this, now this thing, right, I wanted to show you this just to see what is the response of the get, right? So this is the object response. As you can see, this is an object. Okay, so it shows object, and in the bracket it also shows the by what status code it has come, right? So we can so even at looking at the object, we can say that, okay, I've got a correct proper information because I've got 200 as status code. Okay, why? Because in the API I have defined 200 as the status code here, right? So this is how we load. Okay, so this part wasn't important. This part wasn't important. This database part wasn't important. What was important? These 4 to 5 lines of code, right? So this simple you need to use this, okay, request library, which will hit the URL of the resource API and get the information in the form of object, which needs to be converted to JSON, and then you can do anything you want. Okay, so what I did, this information which I got from the JSON, I put in the template. Okay, so is this part clear? I hope this has given you some idea as to how to use API, right? Now, one more thing that we need to look at is the post, right? So probably cannot go into post at this session, but we will, I'll definitely try to continue with the next session also, not the Wednesday's one, but the Friday's one. Okay, but I hope till then you have got the idea how to load an API. Okay, now see, one difference here in the get, you have added one variable, right? You have added this as a variable. Why have we added this as a variable? Because in resources we have defined this as a variable, right? It should take a variable also. But in post, we do not provide, we will not provide data like this. Okay, why not? Two reasons. One is if the URL is having all the data, it will become very easier for others to see what data you are putting in. Okay, so a security concern. Secondly, see what is the data here. We are looking at 5 parameters. Okay, so we will not keep on adding these 5 parameters by giving slash and slash and slash. Okay, okay, we'll not give 4 slashes and add 5 parameters like this. Okay, so there is another way wherein we put data in the form of data, where we'll parse arguments, right? So that is a part of Flask RESTful. That is a functionality what Flask RESTful provides, that it will allow arguments to directly put as a different data set. Okay, I'll continue on that, but just wanted to know if this part is clear. So whoever are there.
Sir, excuse me, sir. It will be very helpful if you can just show how to return how to call redirect to controller, how to return some response to controller, and retrieve that information in that controller, in that particular.
How to what
Like,
exactly?
Sir, in the good sir, in please go to sir that their app.py and in there like when in the 19th line when you have returned render template in that line if I want to redirect it to some controller and in that controller I want to pass some user information like you got information like response.json and I need and in response variable I need to save username like a response.json and in square bracket I mention username and I save and I need to pass that information to that controller like when I'm redirecting it to like something
Yeah, got it. Yeah, so see what you will have to do, see probably won't be able to show you now. See why you send me the code, I'll try to incorporate that thing in your code. Okay, see what will happen here, I will create a session, okay, a Flask session, okay, and then the information that I got here, okay, that information I'll save as session. For example, I'm saving username like this, not like this, like this. Session, how you store a value in a dictionary, right? So session, username, okay, and then this will be like this, response, username, okay. So what happened, the response is also a JSON which can be treated as a dictionary, and session is a special dictionary, can be treated as a dictionary, right? So this username of response is saved in the session as username, okay. So same thing will be done, okay. Now this session is the information is session is stored in the server. Now if you want to, let's say I will comment this line, okay, yeah, so commented. What I'll do is return redirect, okay, and where am I redirecting? To this part, let's say create, okay, here, okay, here. Now how will I take that information? I will take like this, username equals to session username, okay.
Yes sir.
You got. So only the thing is what I need to do is here I simply have to call this as call session, and then have to create one more thing here, that is app dot secret key. Send it as a string. Okay, now session is created. Okay, so this information from here will be sent. I don't want to disturb the code, something error will happen and we'll keep on creating that correcting that. Okay, but this is how you will send information from one controller to another controller.
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
So using this like controller, we can access the data, like the session data, using the session variable, right? But what about the API? Like, how do we authenticate using the API? Like, this is for the like GUI thing. But when somebody is using the API, how do we authenticate using the API?
Yeah, that is the issue we stopped with. Okay, we do not know currently how to see, because APIs are created here, right, in the different file.
Yes sir.
Okay, so that is the issue, that we do not know currently that how do we pass this information to the API. Okay. Yeah, so currently we ourselves are not, or I myself am not very sure, okay, because that was the issue that came with Flask login also. Okay, what is the scope of current user? So currently we do not know what is the scope of session. Is this session storing information which can be retrieved or added in one file and retrieved from another file?
Okay, so in the final project we have to authenticate, or we don't have to authenticate using the API in the API part?
You don't really need to do that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, or what you can do is authenticate within the controller and then put it in the API.
Okay, authenticating within the controller like as in if user and session username, and then. But would that work with the API? Like I'm pretty much.
Okay, we'll have to see.
Because for for the normal controller and we are working with the browser, there it might get saved. But in case of API, I don't know, would it work or like.
Yeah, see, yeah, literally, that's what I'm myself not sure about it, Sachin. So let me come back with a better solution to that. Whether Flask logins current user be able to do that or not.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. For now, I'll send this source code, not this, the complete one, and then maybe we can build up on
Okay,
that.
sir. Okay, sir.
Okay.
And so
So I
Bhavya
hope
is
this
asking
part is
something
clear.
in the chat.
Is asking?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
So what do we mean by session data is stored at server?
See, so information that you're storing here, okay? Information you're storing in the session. You created a session and you're storing the information here. Okay, what is being stored? The username that is given by API is stored in the session. Okay, now this is not a dictionary. Have you defined the dictionary session somewhere?
No.
No, right? But this dictionary is created at the server and information is stored at the server.
And sir, where is the server for this case?
The Flask app itself is the server because the controllers are created in the server, right? Server will have the controller, the database linking, okay, and the models, right? So this is the structure. What is the structure of our application? This is the structure, right? So this Flask application that we have created is acting as a server. Okay, and the view function that it provides are the front end that the Flask this application provides. Everything is everything is the backend.
Okay.
Okay, so with the get method, we send some information and which are defined in the server. Okay, so if the user sends a get method, what to do? If the user sends a post method, what to do? So that is defined in the server. That's why this application itself is the server.
Sir, but API would not have any idea about that session when we when we can create controller when we call API, but that API will verify, but that API will not have any information about
Yeah,
session.
got it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I'm really not sure how to get this information from server to API.
So what can we do is like we can use JWT, and JWT will create token, access token, and we can pass that token to like when we are calling in login API. We can pass that token where we get response in JSON format. We can save it some variable token is equal to response.json and token access
So
token.
this JWT is something that I've not gone through. Okay, let me go through it and then maybe I'll be in a better position to respond to this query. Okay. Hello.
So one more thing.
Yeah.
So how do we know what exactly are the things that are being saved to the session?
What are the things that are being saved or
saved to the session?
Yeah, so we can decide, right? See how did I save the username? I've saved it in the myself, right, manually. So I can decide that what should be saved in the session. If I do not save anything, session will not be found.
As in from
so I'll
the
have to
HTML.
define what should be saved.
From the
Sorry?
from the HTML side.
No. This username I've taken from the HTML. That is one thing. I can take it from anywhere I want. I can take it directly in the URL also. But how have I saved it? This way, right? This way. I've taken it from the API and saved it in the session manually.
Okay.
So that is how we can save all the components or variables or parameters we want manually in the session.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, sir, but just one thing, sir. More in line 22, if I need to pass variable in redirect part, how can we do that, and how can we retrieve that variable?
I'm really not sure if you can provide a variable in the along with the redirect method.
Okay, sir.
Right, just in the render template it is okay, you can provide it, it will take that argument, but will redirect method take? I don't think so. Redirect will only take a string that is directing to a different URI. It will not take any variable.
Okay, why was I? Okay, sir. Why was I was asking that because I wanted to pass that token thing in that redirect part.
Get that. So if you are able to pass the token, why not pass the data directly? Why do we need token? Right,
but
because
sir, I have to continue, sir. Okay.
See, why are we using tokens? So that the information is not visible anywhere in the URL and all. Okay, so in the redirect, if only this is the URL, right? The information will not be visible anywhere in the URL and directly can be transferred as a part of data.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. What do you say?
I was saying that, sir, you're telling that we just you why not just render template there only? But problem is that in that dashboard part we have to apply some functionalities, and for that I have to call another API which is doing those things, and it will pass those. But so only I cannot render template there because in your home controller it is my like login controller. And I'm what I'm doing in response is equal to get what you're doing. I'm doing response is equal to post, and I'm providing the API URI, and from that I'm getting response like API log me in, and from there I have to let user go to their dashboard page. So
Yeah,
and
I'm
that
getting.
dashboard, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm getting what you're trying to do exactly. Yeah, I'm getting it, but I'm really not sure that you can pass anything along with the the URI in the redirect. It will take only one parameter.
Okay, sir.
Okay, there has to be another way, which currently I'm not sure of. So we'll I'll go back and try to get something, and then we'll come back and tell you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, I got the idea, which is very genuine, but okay, cannot help much with that for now. Okay, but I will.
So
Yeah.
So, but you have taught that we can pass some string value in redirect by writing /create plus that value.
Yeah, but then you will have to define the URL here also, like that.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. But if we want to pass two parameters, then in redirect we have to write /create plus parameter 1 plus parameter 2.
Yes.
Is this the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
So one more thing.
Yeah.
Also, how to do a cascading delete? Like if I delete one tracker, it should delete the whole log, all the events.
Yeah, so what you need to do is, okay, this is one of the questions here before also. See, what you need to do is cascading delete is, you will have to see. So there is a tracker and there are logs that are associated to the tracker with the one-to-many relationship, right? So what you need to do is get all the logs that are, related to that tracker. Okay, and delete them first. And then you can delete the tracker. Okay, for example, a tracker is created and you have created you have added 3 to 4 logs in it. Okay, now these 3 to 4 logs are belong to that one tracker and are related by one-to-many relationship. Okay, now what happens if you directly delete the tracker? The logs, they become parentless, that is they do not have any one here, right? That will make the database incomplete and hence lock it. Okay, so once the database is locked, there is no way of committing it. Whenever you will try to add a new data and commit, it will definitely say no arguments given, unable to commit, database locked, things like that. So what you need to do is, since this tracker and 3 to 4 logs are creating or maintaining one-to-many relationship, you try to get all those logs that belong to that tracker, which is very which can can be easily done by querying. Okay, get all the logs, delete them, and then delete the tracker. Okay, so before deleting the tracker should not be associated to any other logs. In that case, your database will not be incomplete. Okay, see, logs, the one-to-many relationship, when we define the things that are many, that are the logs, they can be deleted. Okay, but the tracker to which they are associated to, that is the one part that cannot be deleted directly.
Yes, sir.
Got it. So what is cascading? What is cascading delete? What I explained is cascading delete, right? So you, while deleting the thing, you delete the components which are there within that, and then delete the thing. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, and how to get the components? By making the user one-to-many relationship, right? So you track or get all those. So let's say I'm having this tracker ID 1, okay, and then there are 4 logs with ID 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you get the trackers such that who's having a foreign key tracker ID that is 1. Okay, so it will that list, it will be a list of objects, right, that will have all the trackers. Then you delete these trackers. In that case, the tracker that was having these logs will become empty, and then delete the tracker.
So that would be like doing it manually. So is there a like cascading thing? Like it deletes it automatically once you delete the tracker. Is there a way?
Currently, I don't know. Okay, I'm not sure about cascading. If there is something that does that. Okay, delete all those entities which are related with many things. But you can do it manually, right? Get it
Okay.
get
Yeah,
them one
manually
by
that's
one.
possible. Yes, yes.
Hmm.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, so anything else? I'll give the code, okay, after the session. Okay, fine. So if there is nothing else, we'll stop this session. Okay, it has already gone 45 minutes past 1, right? So I hope whatever I thought, given the breakage and all, the breaking in links, me signing off and all, I guess whatever I gave was a bit important and helpful, and we'll build upon it in the next session. Mike, you still want to ask something? You raised your hand.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, thanks. I think we should wind up, right?
So codes will be provided in the portal itself, right?
Yeah. In the portal, you have this section, right? Solve with instructor course code there.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, then thank you very much. We'll see you back on Wednesday.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a question. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, I was asking, for our APIs, we have to create that YAML file. Will there be any live session on that?
There is already a screencast on that, right? Documenting the API.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, you can go through that. Yeah, okay then, we'll call it off. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.